claim by the presidency that they're saying that certain persons want to pass a vote of no confidence on the president?
Well, there's no provision for passing a vote of no confidence under the current constitutional arrangement. You know, there's no provision for, we're not running a parliamentary system of government. Even if you pass a vote of no confidence in the president, it will amount to nothing. But under the current constitutional arrangement, what is required is for the National Assembly, both chambers of the National Assembly, to view the crisis threatening to tear the country apart and take the appropriate step by embarking on the impeachment of the president, who I believe, in all honesty, is already overwhelmed by the crisis of insecurity, the crisis of mismanagement of the country, the crisis of poverty, the crisis of, name it. Our country is in trouble. We have never had this kind of situation before. Since 1960, not even during the Civil War, did Nigeria experience such reckless killings of our people, abductions, kidnapping, armed robbery, and terrorism, and so on and so forth. So the National Assembly has to wake up.
All right, Mr. Falana,
Yes?
a look around the country, a look around the states. You have highlighted some of the major problems that the country is bedeviled with. I mean, it's not possible not to notice these things on a daily basis. Just yesterday, parents of the university students that were kidnapped in Kaduna were at the National Assembly to practically beg, in tears, to ask that the federal government does something to find a way to release the children from the hands of their captors. The presidency didn't respond to this and continues to look the other way, looking as if the president cannot do anything about the current situation in the country. How do you respond to this, particularly when the Speaker of the House of Representatives, not very convincingly promised to do something and see what they can do to get the release of these children?
Again, the case of the undergraduates of the Greenfield University is very, very embarrassing, very painful, heart-rending, and I can imagine the mental agony the parents of these young people will be going through. And therefore, the government has a duty, a responsibility to ensure that those students are rescued. In the words of the governor of that state, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, in 2014, no price should be too high in ensuring that we rescue those kids. And no responsible government can grandstand on a matter of this nature. It is either you can rescue the children, kidnap students through a military operation, or you adopt other means that will get those children released from the custody of the criminal elements. But the government cannot leave the fate of those students to their parents. It is not done in any society. It has never happened in Nigeria, whereby undergraduates, secondary school students, and even primary school pupils are being kidnapped. And all you hear from the government is a press statement condemning such abductions. It cannot continue. So we just have to address this problem once and for all. We can't be going from Zamfara to Katsina, from Katsina to Kaduna, and so on and so forth, having our children abducted in their schools. It is unacceptable, it is intolerable, and it should stop. And the government must stop just threatening. I mean, I just read in the paper this morning again that, in the next 3 months, we are going to defeat Boko Haram. I thought we had defeated Boko Haram, according to this regime. So we must learn to take ourselves very, very seriously. When you had the kidnapping of students in Zamfara the last time, the president assured the nation that that would be the last time it will happen. But it has routinely occurred since then.
Their lives are under threat. The terrorists have said they're going to kill them, but the government has said it is not negotiating with these persons. Mr. Falana, talk to us about the position taken by the governor of that state. He's taken that position based on what he said is a failed policy in the past, a policy which he himself initiated, paying off bandits, and he said it never worked. And now he's saying he's not going to do that, irrespective of whether these persons are threatening to kill these students. Does he have any point whatsoever in taking that position? And do you see any sense in that position for which he has taken?
Well, frankly speaking, I would not want us to discuss personalities here. I think what is important is to stress the duty of the government. Section 14, subsection 2, subsection B, provides that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. If the government cannot secure the people, if the government cannot provide for the welfare of the people, and you have groveling poverty all over the place, then those who are responsible for exercising powers in the country will have to wake up and hold the government accountable. For instance, in the last 6 years, it's been alleged that about 10 trillion naira has been released for the defense of the country. I mean, to the military, the armed forces. Now, the National Assembly will have to monitor the disbursement of the money, because that is what is required in the circumstances in which we have found ourselves. Because about $15 billion earmarked for procurement of arms and ammunition under previous regimes, successive regimes, has not been accounted for. We are now being told again that $1 billion released in the last couple of years to procure arms and ammunition cannot be accounted for. So we can't go on, pouring money down the drain. So the National Assembly will now have to put a mechanism in place for ensuring that money earmarked for purchase of weapons is properly utilized. Secondly, our armed forces and police force are overstretched. You have barely 350,000 police personnel, and we are being told that about 150,000 are guiding Nigerians in power, while you are not talking of 200,000 police personnel, policing 206 million people. With respect to the military, I mean, we have about 160,000, military personnel. Again, the president has deployed armed troops all over the country, in the entire 36 states and Abuja. So the point I'm making, therefore, is that we are under-policed. We need to recruit thousands of young people, train them, decolonize the training, and ensure that they serve the people, not the government in power. Unless we address this challenge, and of course, we are now forced to encourage the formation of regional or state police even though the government in Abuja hasn't considered that we should have state police, but that's already going on. You know, regional police forces have been set up because the government in Abuja has failed to guarantee the security of the Nigerian people and, of course, foreigners who live with us or who visit our country. So, for me, I think these are the challenges we have to address.
All right, Mr. Falana, a good thing you brought up the issue of policing and the fact that Nigeria is over-policed. Well, that is quite under-policed. And you also probably know that a lot of Nigerian armed forces soldiers have resigned or have left, you know, the military in droves.
To man all parts of Nigeria. And what is worse, the first $70 million voted for the acquisition and installation of CCTV cameras in Lagos and Abuja to start with was stolen by some people in government. And there has been no explanation. Now, you can't police a society these days without embracing technology. We must acquire drones. We must install CCTV cameras, tracking devices, and so on and so forth. These vital gadgets are simply not available in our country. I mean, you could recall the other day when a 27-year-old American was kidnapped in Niger Republic. Americans deployed drones. They located where the young man was being held illegally. Troops were sent, and they launched the rescue operation in Nigeria in violation of our sovereignty. So, if that could happen, and that young man was rescued successfully, why can the government of Nigeria not, acquire such, gadgets instead of begging Americans, oh, come and save us? Americans are not coming here to man our cities and villages. We have to do it ourselves. And we are being told now that Nigeria is not in the priority of America. So we have to prioritize our own security ourselves. We've done it before. This country has restored democracy in countries like Liberia, Sierra Leone. We are helping to stabilize democracy in Guinea-Bissau. Our troops have gone around all over the world as members of the United Nations peacekeeping force. We fought a civil war. Now, why is it now that we are unable to maintain law and order in our country, to secure the life and property of every citizen? These are the issues. And what are we talking about? We are only talking about the physical aspect of security. What of social security? We're establishing universities and tertiary institutions all over the place. And nobody is thinking of providing jobs, creating employment opportunities for the young men and women who are being shown out of these institutions.
And we're just at the point where we were discussing or asking Mr. Falana his opinion about the liberalization of firearm and light weapons in Nigeria. Have we come to the time now where we begin to, have this conversation so that Nigerians are able to legally protect themselves?
Liberalization of what?
Of firearms and light weapons.
No. We have to try as much as possible to mop up light weapons that are all over the place. I understand we have millions of light weapons all over the place. They're being used now to terrorize the society. And we also have to do something about the political class, politicians that arm talks and drop them during elections, and after the election, these troops are never demobilized. Something has to be done about that. And of course, the government has to, without any further delay, install the cargo tracking system at the port, which can in advance, check goods that are coming to the country. This was installed between 2010 and 2011, but enemies of our country forced the previous regime to cancel the cargo tracking system, and this regime for 6 years has been unable to install or restore the cargo tracking system. It was just about, I think last month, that President Muhammadu Buhari directed the Ministry of Transportation to ensure that the cargo tracking system is installed. Up till now, nothing has been done. Adequate weapons to confront the Boko Haram troops that are better equipped. These young people are willing to fight, but they are not empowered. So it's not just enough for the president to summon service chiefs and they assure him in the next 3 months we are going to defeat Boko Haram. I thought Boko Haram had been technically defeated. So we were told in the past. So we can't just go, it can no longer be business as usual. Our country is on the brinks. We are moving inexorably, to the dismemberment of the country, to the balkanization of the country. And it's no longer enough for, the presidency to warn those who are calling for balkanization. No, you must now engage them in productive dialogues. You must engage people. Why? People are asking for a new country. People are asking for balkanization because of nepotistic, rule or based on lopsided appointments, contrary to Section 14 subsection 3 of the Constitution. All that has to change now.